Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having an amazing weekend. If you haven't already, go check out our chicken and garden update with a difference. Because I'm recording this effectively a week and a half before the video goes live, I'm not giving you an update from the garden. Instead, I'm showing you how I water the garden with my smart irrigation system, which actually wasn't super expensive, and it allows me to make sure that I don't waste water. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. Today I want to talk to you about what the point is at which you decide, you know what, it's time for a new car. So I don't know if you're aware, but on the main channel, we've been doing a series about giving an older electric vehicle like this Chevrolet Bolt here an extension in life, either by treating it nicely with a ceramic coat, which is what we did to this car, adding Comma AI or Open Pilot to allow the car to take over some more of the driving duties, and adding features to the inside of the car like upgrading the infotainment system or adding wireless charging. That's all of the things we're doing to this car. But I'm also aware that when you own an older car, or maybe even when you own a new car that you've had for 3 or 4 or 5 years, there gets a point at which you go, you know what, I want a new car. And I want to know from you at what point that occurs. So, I mean, poor Michael, who's holding the camera right now, has had a run of bad luck with his Chevrolet Volt with a V. It's not been super reliable for him. He's had some issues. Luckily, 2 of the big issues that he's had with the car, there was an issue with the transmission and then he had a trouble with wheel bearings, have been covered under warranty. So he's been pretty lucky. But I'm also aware that, you know, there comes a point with car ownership where if you have a run of bad luck with the car, things are constantly breaking, letting you down, you go, you know what, it's time for a new car. That might not always be the most sustainable option. Maybe you can afford to go out and buy a new car and underwrite the cost of the old car's depreciation. Maybe you can't. Maybe you just want to make a lateral change, going from one used car to another used car of a similar price, in the hope that that car will be better luck for you. I've got a theory, which is when you buy a car, you can either choose to buy a brand new car and spend a large amount of money every month on finance payments and not have to worry about repairs because of the warranty that came with the car, or you buy an older car, maybe you can afford to buy it outright, but then you're still spending a large amount of money every month just keeping that car on the road, whether it is servicing, whether it's replacing worn out components. Obviously with an electric vehicle, service costs themselves are low, but that doesn't stop things like wheel bearings and tyres and brakes and air conditioning systems from failing, because every car has those and they can still be expensive when they go wrong. And that's before we even talk about batteries and charging systems, which can and do from time to time fail. So what is your particular point at which you go, this car is just too much trouble, I'm going to sell it? Maybe you have a zero tolerance for that. I know lots of people who do. Maybe it's a recall campaign. Something goes wrong with your car at a large scale. Maybe not your car personally, but your car is recalled for a faulty battery pack, like we had with the Bolt EV. Or maybe it's something like there's an issue with the seat belts or the airbags or something else. And that for you is the line at which you go, you know, no, I'm going to go and get a new car. I do not want to have anything to do with this vehicle anymore. Maybe it's when the automaker makes a bad judgment call about how it treats customers. Maybe it changes its policy. Maybe it's something like with the F-150 here, where Ford is going to start charging an arm and a leg to give you access to Blue Cruise. Or maybe it's something like you're a Tesla owner and you've got to the point where you're like, I don't like how Elon Musk has been behaving lately, or maybe you don't like how your local Tesla service center has been behaving. And of course, that's true with all dealerships. Maybe there's a local dealer near you that's just changed hands and you don't like the new owners or the way they do things, and that's enough to get you to switch to a different car. Or maybe you're someone who goes, you know what, I really like this car. I've owned this car for a really long time and I just do not want to get rid of it because it's the old mantra of better the devil you know than the devil you don't. I know personally I've relied on that before in the past with my previous car, my red Chevrolet Bolt EV. Even though I knew that it wasn't perfect, I knew that that car had been looked after and I had cared for it, and I would much rather have a car with a known history that might break down because of its high mileage or whatever, than buy another car and know nothing about it and risk having a massive amount of repair work done on it. So leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to know what your personal crossover point is. Or maybe it's just, I'm bored, I need a new car. I do have friends who get bored with their cars with scary regularity, and they can afford to change their car every 2 to 3 years, and that's what they do. They drive it, they get bored with it, and they go, I want a new car now, and they go and buy the new hotness. That is a valid answer if you have that as your methodology. But I think a lot of people who watch this channel, they want to hold on to their car for as long as they possibly can, both from a financial perspective, but also from an environmental one. And on that note, we are done with today's video. If you have comments, as I said, I would love to hear them in the comments section below. You can drop us a polite note on Discord. You can leave us a comment on Mastodon, reaching out to the team on Mastodon, or if you're a Patreon supporter, you can leave comments on our Patreon page. If you want more, subscribe, hit the bell, and follow the links below to regularly support us with the YouTube membership or a Patreon subscription. You'll also find links to our Ko-fi, Bitcoin and swag store, as well as that aforementioned Mastodon server. Scrolling on my right is the list of amazing charged up supporters, and shout outs go out to our V to G Patreon supporters. They are Pedro Moura Pinheiro, Alan Tupper, Andrew Martin, Bennett Elder, Brophy Wolf, Chris Maxwell, Cyprian Laplace, Dan Blair, Gordon C, Hey Esker, John Tramal, Carl Fox, Mark Eggleton, Peter Dillinger, Regine Fellows, Sean Tucker, Stefan Fremgen, Stephen Williams, Tasla in the Gong, Paul Bricknell, Tony Moss, Carl Hodgson, Chris Centaur, Denny Hyde, Lance Schlall, Linda Irish, Mike Weeder and Paul Nelson. And finally, big thanks to our off-grid supporters. They are Paul Conway, Kevin Boroughbridge, Stephen O'Donoghue, Jim Burness, Robert Flannery, Aaron Hahn, Ellery Hensley, Rory Litwin, JP Fagerback, Dave Kitchen, Andrew Glenn, Anonymous Freak, Chris Ann, Michael Johnson, Clay Witt, CPU Freak 101, Eric Knack, Joe Bresney, Joe Hughes, John Henderson, Laura Reynolds, Marcel Ward, Matthew Drobnak, Nigel S, Reggie Watts, Will Graylin, and of course, Ian. Don't forget that we make content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday on the main channel, a day earlier if you are a Patreon supporter or YouTube channel member, and then join me on a Sunday for Chicken and Garden and Sunday Musings here on Transport Evolved Take 2. We are back in the studio next week after a glorious week off for July 4th. I hope you had some time off too. Either way, I hope your day is a good one, and as always, keep evolving.